I mean, at the time, I didn't know the difference between running in cool weather, hot weather, perfect racing weather. I didn't know all that stuff. So for me, it was just normal weather. I'd say yes and no. Yes, in terms of, I've always been active my whole life since I was 6 years old. I've always been sporty. No, because running is a different ball game. It's all that. But the first one is so it's special. It's very special and it's life-changing. And I made some, life-changing decisions after that, because I was like, if I can do that, then I can do anything. How I was convinced that Skhindi Gang was probably the right program I should be on was when I told Coach V my aspirations, and he told me that the vision was that they wanted to see more female runners running like your 320s and sub 3. And that's when I knew I was at the right place.
Did you hit the ground running with the program, or you and you thought, man, this is too much?
If I'm being honest, the program was tough, man. The program was tough. At some points I'd feel a little discouraged and I just feel like nah, but I held on. I won't lie, I did struggle, naturally so. So I am a co-founder for Abantu Apparel. I've got 2 other co-founders, Modise and Sibonelo.
And folks, welcome to this episode of the Runners Podcast with myself, Rotokholo. And today we are hosting in Bogoto Usisi Samantha Shabalala. She's a runner. And yeah, we just thought let's unpack her running journey, because I've seen her with the Skhindi Gang, with Sipho Marima. So her at Comrades, she was chasing a silver. She'll tell us if it materialized or not. But yeah, we thought let's just show her some love as our fellow runner. Like, subscribe, comment, and yeah, help us build the channel. And without further waste of time, we welcome Usisi Samantha.
Thank you for having me.
Just quickly, or in whatever way you would like it to be, please introduce yourself.
Sure. I'm very passionate about fitness. Currently I run a lot. What else? I know a lot of people think I run for a living. I don't run for a living. I actually studied accounting, so I'm in the finance space. And I own a brand. I'm a co-founder of a brand, Abantu, with 2 of my other business partners. And yeah, but most people know me as semi-fit, passionate about fitness, and yeah, basically that's my personality in a nutshell, fitness.
Pardon me for, English can show us flames at times. I don't know, are you affectionately known as semi-fit, or are you also known as semi-fit?
I'm known as semi-fit, yeah.
Where did the name come from?
A friend of, I actually can't remember, but I think a friend of mine suggested the name similar to my name, Sammy. So instead of saying Sammy, I just put an E instead of an A, and then it was just semi-fit, yeah, basically.
So, but the name is Samantha?
Yes, correct.
Okay. You are a fitness fanatic.
Yes.
Which side of fitness? Because I'm a passionate runner. I've been running for 23 years. I think you can see one of the medals there says 2002. So yeah, are you only into running, or what else do you do?
So actually I used to be a hockey player. I played hockey up until COVID. And then after COVID, I never really got back into it. So I then just started doing gym. I did CrossFit. I found the traditional like weightlifting a little boring for me because I was more of like a sporty girl. So then I moved into things like CrossFit and then functional training. I enjoyed that type of stuff. And then in like 2022, a neighbor just saw me like coming from the gym, and then he was just like, hey, you should try out running. And I was just like, okay, we'll see. Tried it out, registered for Soweto Marathon. I hadn't ran a 10K before, I didn't ran a 21. I just like literally went into the marathon, and then
Wow.
and then that's how it all started. And apparently I got a qualifier. And you know how runners are, they're like, hey, you qualify for 2 Oceans and Comrades. I was like, that's a little hectic. But luckily I was running with the community of, it was Team Cedar at the time. So they were all training for that. So then it just made it easier for me to also train for that. Even though I had like, at the time, probably like 3 months, 4 months running experience. And from then I just started being addicted to the running thing. And just trying to be better and better and better. Yeah.
So just to understand, you registered for the 2. Did you at least train for it?
I did. It was so it was in November, beginning of November. So I started training mid-August. So mid-August, September. So about 2 months and a half.
Oh, you at least trained for it.
But I mean, training for it, I didn't really know what I was doing. I would just wake up and run. And apparently I was told that because I do strength training, my legs were a bit strong, so that's how I was able to do the distance. Because it is a tough course. If you've ran Soweto, you know how tough that course is.
So you did your first marathon in 2022?
Yeah, correct.
And how did you find it? I know it's tough, but how did you find it? Firstly, the marathon. Secondly, the course. Thirdly, I think the weather and just to sum it up.
The marathon itself, luckily there was 2 people from Team Cedar that actually ran with. It was me at the time, and it was also Dumi Sole. He was also doing his first marathon. So the fact that they ran with us, it kind of helped, because then they would say, okay, here we're gonna slow down a bit, and that type. So I felt like I kind of had a bit of guidance. But then I remember getting to like 30, and I was just like done for it. And then the person I was running with was like, everyone is in pain, like everyone is literally in pain. And I was just like, okay, let me just run to finish. The course was extremely tough. The weather, it was hot. It was very hot. But I mean, at the time, I didn't know the difference between running in cool weather, hot weather, perfect racing weather. I didn't know all that stuff. So for me, it was just normal weather. I remember I finished at 4:47. And so you can imagine how tough that was.
Yeah, definitely. And coincidentally, my very first official marathon was Soweto Marathon.
Oh, okay.
Although I ran other races, your 10s or 21s and other, but that was my official marathon. So we are twins. In that way. But then you finished your Soweto Marathon. Didn't you feel like the pain and maybe got maybe detracted to say, hey man, you know what, this running thing is too tough for me? Or did the bug of running already had already beaten you by then?
So when I was told that I qualified to run Comrades and Oceans, I remember thinking there's no way I'm gonna run Comrades. After the pain I felt, I think I was probably in pain for like 5 days.
The penguin work, okay.
Yeah. And then Oceans, I was like, okay, so Oceans is 56. I ran 42. That's an extra 14 kilometers. Okay, I'm sure I can do it. But then, like, when you're surrounded by everyone who's doing the same thing, like I said, you know how runners are.
Just said the toxicity.
Yeah. Everyone was training for Comrades. So I was just like, okay, you know what, let's see what happens. And initially I was like, okay, 12 hours. I'm sure I can do 12 hours. And initially that was my goal. I was like, okay. And that was in December. I was like, okay, I'm sure I can do it 12 hours. I'm sure I can run Comrades, yeah.
But have you had, like, by the time they said you qualified for Oceans and Comrades, have you known about those two races or heard of them before?
Yes, I did. So I knew about Oceans. Comrades, yeah, but I always thought I'd run Comrades at for some reason, I always associated Comrades with being in my 40s, not, yeah, so I thought I'd run Comrades in my 40s, and I'm probably a good, I probably did this 10 years in advance.
Yeah.
So yeah, I always thought I'd do it in my 40s, but somehow I started the journey 10 years earlier, so yeah.
And were you running with a group of men, or were there ladies in the group that when you started, you trained for Soweto and the likes?
So there was a lady, her name is Pammy, she runs for Chili's. So she was very welcoming when I joined Team Cedar. So yeah, and they were, as you know, there's more men than women in the running space, naturally. So at the time it would be a mixture of females, and it would be a mixture of females and men. And because at the time I was still, for lack of a better word, I was still a very, I don't know if I want to say a back runner or a slow runner. That's generally where, unfortunately, that's where we are as females. So I was able to run with both females and men. But now things are changing. The faster I want to get, the more I have to run with the likes of the Siphos and, Coach Vongs. And, a lot of the time I find that it's a lot of men. And hopefully with time we'll change the narrative.
Soweto is big in terms of the road running races, and you then went to do your Oceans. How did you find your Oceans, and how did you contrast it with the Soweto?
Sure. That's a bit of a. I didn't know what was happening. All I knew is I needed to do more. So somehow I already knew that I'm running in a space where there's runners that have been doing this for 3 years, for 5 years, and the likes, and there would be a program that they would put on the Team Cedar group, or maybe they'll say, okay, it's a Saturday long run and it's a 30k long run. I would do 35k. So I was always I need to do more. I need to do more. I need to do more, because bearing in mind, I literally only had 4 months running experience, and now I want to run an ultra marathon. I want to run Comrades. I want to run Oceans. So I was like, okay, my legs need to get used to, this running thing. So I'd always do more. I didn't know things like route profiles, elevations. So I can't even say how do I contrast the two. I can't really contrast the two, because at the time I literally didn't know what I was doing. All I knew is you gotta do more, you gotta do more, you gotta do
So you just went with the flow?
Yeah. Literally.
And your 2 Oceans finishing?
2 Oceans I finished 5:08.
Not bad.
Yeah, it was actually quite impressive. I think the day before, I bumped into some of the Team Cedar guys. At the time it was Never Sam.
I know Never Sam.
Yeah, Never Sam. And then he literally drew out he told me how to run the race. So he broke it down into segments. I didn't see the route profile. All I knew was that I knew the elevation, and I had done a training run probably 2 weeks before, and the elevation was more than that. So I was like, nah, if the elevation at Oceans is six something, and I've done a training run that had an elevation of 700 and something, I was like, nah, I'll be fine. And so the way he then broke it down for me helped me into, because Oceans, like if you start fast the first half, you'll suffer, towards the middle and the end and after 42. So I think that helped me, and yeah.
Nice one. I'm just, and I'm sitting here thinking, I think you were thrown at the very deep end of it at an early stage of running, and whereby I would, someone would just give up and say, no, this running thing is too much. But then, do you think your indoor experience of fitness, being your strength, your conditioning, helped you it helped to make the transition easy?
I'd say yes and no. Yes, in terms of, I've always been active my whole life since I was 6 years old. I've always been sporty. No, because running is a different ball game. It's a different ball game on its own. And I think all that I picked up from when I started running was just the consistency. So I already had, a good work ethic. I'd like to think I've got a good work ethic. So I was able to, be consistent, and I realized that, the more I show up, the better I'm becoming, week on week, cumulative gains. And but I think definitely it did help. Strength training, I always, up to now, I think that's probably one of the things that, that's what sets me apart. That's what keeps me strong, and that's especially in terms of, ultra running. And
And most of the experienced runners, including the Comrades runners, would say that your first Comrade is always the best, because maybe you are still new, you don't know. Did you find your first Comrades to be your very best?
Definitely. And also it's life-changing, man. It's life-changing. You like running 90 Ks. I think it wasn't even 90 Ks, it's probably 87, 86 in 2003. I can't remember the exact time, but it's life-changing.
The down run 2003.
Yeah.
I think it was 287.
87 there. So it's a life-changing experience. The feel, it's always the best. And even as I was watching this year, I knew a lot of novice runners. I was actually quite excited for them, because I'm like, I can't wait for them to experience what I experienced. Like it's special, man. It's really special. After that, then we start chasing faster times and all that. But the first one is so. It's special. It's very special, and it's life-changing. And I made some, life-changing decisions after that, because I was like, if I can do that, then I can do anything.
Wow.
Yeah.
But then, can you just maybe break it down in maybe two parts today? First part, second part of Comrades, or even into three, where you say first 30, second 30, and the last part?
I don't think, I actually can't remember. I remember.
You were just going with the flow.
I remember people were like, oh, did you see at the Hillcrest? Did you see the towers? Did you see? I think the only place or landmark I remember from Comrades was Arthur's Seat. That was probably the only.
After halfway.
Yeah. I also remember the first 30, because after I got to 30, I think after 30 then it goes down. I remember getting to 30 and my legs were so heavy. I was like, am I gonna be able to make it?
And I think,
there's still a good 50, 57, 58 still to go. But I think it's because the first 30, there's a lot of, it's very undulating. And you won't really pick it up until you get to the top. And then I was just like, okay, I don't know if I should be feeling the way I'm feeling. But with ultras, also what I've realized is you come and go. So you can feel like you're at your lowest at that point. But I think probably 10Ks after that, you know, I was fresh again. I remember that part. I also remember Sherwood, because I was chasing sub 9. I was chasing sub 9, and I remember getting to Sherwood, and that's when I realized that no, sub 9 is actually out. So I'll definitely remember that. I won't forget Sherwood. And yeah.
And then the finishing? Yeah, as you entered the finishing.
The finishing, I think because I was chasing time and I wasn't, I'd realized that I'd actually lost the time that I wanted to get. By the time I got to the finishing, it was overwhelming, the fact that I'd actually run the distance, but I was a little disappointed because I didn't get the time I wanted. But I remember getting to the finishing and crying and like looking around to see, is there anyone I know? Because I was just like, I need a hug, and what I've just done is amazing, it's phenomenal, and yeah.
But from aiming, like when you first when you first qualified and you were told you can do Comrades, and you thought in your mind 12 hours pop in, and you finished just after 9 hours.
Yes.
Wow. And you were already worried about time. You know, first timers always say, I'm just going there to enjoy, I'll be conservative. But you were already chasing time. Why?
You know what they say, the people you keep in your space. Literally, people you keep in your space. I was training with guys that were chasing silver, and I think when I said I wanted a finisher, I just want the medal, which was sub 12. That was when I just started running. But as the months progressed, I looked at this medal and I was like, Bill Rowan, this medal looks interesting. Let's see if I can aim for this medal. And I guess I'm also a very goal-driven person. I like to excel in everything I do. So, and then I looked at the pace, and the pace was like 6 something. I was like, okay, let's give it a try. And because, you know, I was training with the likes of the Neba Sams, and if you're going to be training with the likes of Neba Sam, you know, naturally you also want to, you know, the energy, you naturally also want to be better at what you're doing. So I was like, okay, let's aim for this target. Let's see where I fall. And yeah. Yeah, no, I understand. So it's association basically that changed my goal from a 12-hour to 9 hours.
Then you got to the finish. I think you did not experience those pains which gave you ideas to say, I'm not coming here again. Did you already envisage the next up run? Because you started with the down run.
Yeah. I actually don't remember how I felt then. I didn't know if it was going to be an up run. But all I knew is I did well for my first. And I was like, okay, let's see what I can do here. And that's when, you know, I'm sure we were gonna get to this, but that's when I was like, okay, let me get on a training program. And that's when I joined the Skhindi gang. I mean, I was like, okay, let's see where I can take this running thing.
Where did you first meet the Skhindi gang? The first guys.
So I'd always heard about them, but Skhindi, and it was only men at the time. It was like men, so I was just like, this is very like intimidating and that type of stuff.
But then that means you're a daring girl.
Yeah, I am. I actually am. And then Sipho, I'd seen Sipho on the socials, but also we were part of Under Armour together. So I'd already known Sipho from then. So then he got his silver through Skhindi gang. So I was like, okay. And he had missed it the previous year, and now he got it via Skhindi gang. So I was like, okay, maybe there's something here. I spoke to him. I was like, my question to him was, do you think this program will work for like a female? Like, is it are they women? And he was like, yeah, there's. At the time, there weren't a lot of women in as part of Skhindi gang, but then that was my first question to him. I was like, okay, so do you think, it accommodates us, female runners? And he was like, yeah. And then he gave me Coach V's number, and then, yeah.
And then what was, okay, I know Sipho would encourage you to say, definitely do that, do that. But then what did Coach Vongs do to take you into his confidence that, you know what, you are going to get what you're looking for?
How I was convinced that Skhindi Gang was probably the right program I should be on was when I told Coach V my aspirations, and he told me that the vision that they have as the Skhindi Gang founders and the coaches was that they wanted to see more female runners running like your 320s and sub 3. And that's when I knew I was at the right place, because I was like, as I was looking around, there's not a lot of women running, the faster times. And if they're saying their vision is to get more females running the faster times, then I knew that, yeah, definitely I'm probably at the right place. And he did just that, and Coach V continues to do just that. And yeah, I'm grateful for for the coaches, and yeah.
Did you hit the ground running with the program, or you and you thought, man, this is too much?
If I'm being honest, the program was tough, man. The program was tough. At some points I'd feel a little discouraged, and I just feel like, nah, this thing we're doing, is this meant for a female body? Can a female physique actually, tolerate this type of running, this type of mileage? And I was just like, no, this is for men, But I held on, I won't lie, I did struggle, naturally so. It was a big jump. My muscle hadn't matured, to be able to withstand that type of running, or that type of daily running, or that type of output and intensity. But, it didn't discourage me. I still showed up, and yeah.
And when did you find your rhythm? After how many months? Because I think we are here talking to an audience whereby some might be encouraged by your story, and some might be thinking, I can't do this, but yeah, they might be inspired by your story.
So when I joined Skhindi Gang, I had been running for about 9 months. And then I told Coach V that I wanted to run a 320. Mind you, I was a sub 4 runner at the time.
Yeah.
And I'd also come from running, my first marathon, 4:47. Like, that's literally right, the last qualifying time. So it was a big, all he said to me was that you need to work. To be honest, when I look at how I was at the time, I have no idea how he believed I could do it. Yeah, looking back, I don't think I would have been, like, if it was the same back then, physique wise, I was just like, no, this is not a 320 runner. 320 runner doesn't look like this. But
were you big? Or?
Yeah, I was quite, yeah, not big, but yeah. I could say, yeah, I wasn't at a 320 pace runner. I didn't look like I was a 320 pace runner. But when I joined the program, it was hectic. And then at the time I was training for Chicago Marathon. I went to go run Chicago Marathon. And I completely missed the target. I came back with 3:39, and I remember, so that's a good 19 minutes after. For a marathon, that's significant. You completely missed it. I came back and very discouraged, but it was a PB, and coach was like, I'm very proud of you, And then still, sometimes what I've also learned, or what I'm learning with running, sometimes we chase targets, but there's the target and there's a PB. You may not always get the target, but a PB is a PB. Like, it literally is your best effort, or your best effort on the day, which I got. So it was still quite encouraging. And then I was like, okay, I'll try get the 320 again in a marathon in Elan. So I was going to go around Elan. That was going to be in 2024. Joined the program, and I got injured. I got injured. I had actually been injured for a while, but I was in denial. But I think I got injured for several reasons. One, the jump, as well as me trying to do like I really moved programs. I didn't go through to like a 340 program. I was like, no, I don't want to do 340. I want to do 320. So the intensity, the fact that I've had less than a year running experience, doing all this mileage. So eventually my muscle tore, and I was in denial for some time. I still continued running because I'm like, hey, I need to get this 320. Eventually, I just remember there was a run I was doing, and I just stopped in the middle of the run because I just couldn't take the pain anymore. And then I started crying, and then I was just like, Sam, yeah, you need to hold off a bit on this goal. And I remember Wandi Ceiling, he called me. He's like, why are you running? I don't know how he knew I was injured, but he was like, why did you do that run? And then I was like, okay, let me be realistic. Told coach, he said I should get off the program. Went to a physio, and then they were just like, you should only just do easy runs. So I was just like, okay, let me park the 320 goal. And Comrades training was very easy, so it's fine. The intensity is low, so I could only do 630 runs. If you check my 2024 Comrades block, I was the most chilled human. Like, I was like everything was easy. 6 minutes, 6:30, like my runs were extremely easy because that's all I could do. Yeah. But eventually, my muscle, and what the physio said was that I increased my intensity more than I increased my strength. So basically, my intensity went here, but my strength remained here. So I needed to also increase my intensity, and that's why now you'll never see me miss a strength training session. I'd rather miss a run because it doesn't help being injured, because now I'm busy on the road, and then I can't be on the road anymore. So that's how I always prioritize strength training.
I think that's the greatest lesson that you've learned out of all your. But then, did you eventually go back to a 320 program?
Yes, I did, which was for last year's training block. When I started, I struggled a lot. Because, mind you, I'd been doing easy runs for like 6 months, so I had no speed whatsoever. At some point, I felt a little despondent. I was like, maybe I'm just an ultra runner. Like, I'm not a marathon runner. I don't have speed. I only have endurance. And I was a little despondent, but I was just like, you know what? Let me give it another go, see where I land up. And I struggled. I couldn't hit any of I couldn't even hit a midweek long run or like a weekend long run. And you can imagine that's very like easy. So if I can't even hit those, I'm definitely not going to hit the speed session paces. And then Coach V noticed that, but he also noticed how I was still very passionate about getting the 320. So he gave Eric at the time wasn't really running. It's a guy called Eric. Eric wasn't running at the time, so he called Eric. I didn't know all this. Sipho Marima told me this. He's like, coach has actually asked Eric to come train with you, like this training block, which I'm super grateful for. So I would run with, basically I had a pacer the whole training block for all my speed sessions, for all my easy runs. And with time it started, because what would happen is, you know, Sipho and coach, they were doing a 250, they were on the 250 program. So I'd always be left behind and I just couldn't keep up with them. So then having Eric, at least, even if I know they're ahead, but I still know there's someone running with me, and you know, he'd push me, and eventually it probably took a good 7 weeks or so until I actually started hitting some of the paces. And yeah, from there onwards, eventually I could even keep up with them as the block continued, and then yeah, I got a 320 at Cape Town last year, and yeah, then of course.
Oh yeah, I remember. Yeah. I think I saw something to that effect. Yeah.
Yeah, and then yeah, from there, then I was just like, okay, what's next? Comrades, and you know, the ambitious Sam. Of course, I'm going for silver. And you know that the stats will tell you that no, you need to have a sub 3 or a 310 to run a silver. And I was just like, nah, I'm still gonna go for it. And as usual, I think Coach V's actually also just realized how, you know, you can't really stop me. I'm very ambitious.
Can you stop runners?
Yeah, you can't. So,
you can't stop runners.
Yeah, so he gets that I'm a very ambitious person. So he'll always check up on me every now and again. And then he'll always tell me that you need to do more. So that's basically what I try to do this Comrades training block. Yeah.
But then I think one thing that we need to give, from what I've been hearing from you, what you need to give Coach Vongs flowers on is that he not only gave you the program, but he did his follow-ups, and he even intervened by giving you someone who will just pace you up until you got to their level. Yes. I think kudos to him.
Yeah, definitely. I'm very grateful for that. And yeah.
Let's talk Comrades 2024. How did we miss silver?
You mean 2025?
Oh, so 25 years, yeah.
I can't. It was a very. I always knew. I think, like I've said before, I'm very goal driven. I'm very ambitious, and yeah, I've just always been like that my whole life. And I'm very performance driven.
Yeah.
So I checked the stats, and then I realized that the silver target is hard for males, let alone females.
Yeah.
And then I realized that on average, about 50 ladies get a silver, and on the down run, and about 30 ladies get a silver on the up run. But I was like, okay, let's give it a shot. You know, let's see where I land up. So I was very intentional in terms of my training. I in December, like November, December, Jan, I try to focus on like a lot of speed just to get my threshold up. Because the more I can get my threshold up, the easier, my easy pace can move from a 5:30 to a 5 minutes to a 4:50, which is what I would need to do the, to run the silver target.
Agreed, yeah.
So I tried to be very strategic. I focused on my strength. I focused on, heels, and yeah, the program was tough. I've never in my life done 170
mileage a week.
That was crazy. That was crazy, doing double sessions, having to work in between, waking up in the mornings. But I was just like, this is the goal I want. This is the goal I'm chasing. And come race day, I just don't know what happened. I don't know what happened. The target just slipped at some point. And I just couldn't get it back. I remember getting to 70, and there was a lady, and she's like, you need to pick up the pace. You need to pick up the pace. Your finish time is predicting 7:40. And I was like, I don't have the legs. That's just like,
Yeah.
to bring it back by 11 minutes,
Yeah.
I literally don't have the legs. And I was just like, okay, you know.
So that's after Phil's Hill, eh? And Phil's
Yes,
Hill,
yeah.
it's brutal. Especially on the quads.
I think that's actually, I went too fast on fields that by the time I got to the bottom of fields, I just felt finished, and I was just like, because my thing was like, okay, just get to Cowies. As soon as you pass Cowies, then just think of midweek long run, and you can probably pick up the pace there. But when I got to the bottom of fields, I was just like, no.
Go into Pinetown.
Yeah, I was just like, I'm finished, and then I still have a Cowies to go.
Yeah, to climb Cowies.
Yeah.
It's
and remember now I need to bring it back by 10 minutes, and I was just like, I don't think it's gonna happen. And after when I got to Pinetown, I literally went to the toilet and I sat for 5 minutes, and I was just like, okay, what?
So you added 5 minutes.
I had it because I was just like, the target is out, and I run for 4 ways road runners. So the fastest female to ever run Comrades had ran a 7:45. So I was like, okay, 7:30 is out. Let's see if I can get a club record at least, a female club record at least. So I continued, and then eventually I saw I was also running on the borderline of 7:45. I was just like, you know what? Yeah, sub 8 is still good. So you know, the target is it's 7:30, then it's like, okay, 7:40, then it's like 7:45, and eventually I was just like, okay, just get to the finish, and the finish got me a sub 8. I can't. I remember, I think maybe the next day or 2 days after, or the day after, actually, Sipho called me, and he was like, because he knows I'm very goal driven, and he knows how much I wanted to get the silver target, and he called me, and he was like worried that I'm like probably like despondent and stuff. And it was and I was actually so ecstatic. I was so happy because like it made me realize what I can do. Like I haven't been running for 3 years, and I did that, and I dared to push myself, like the Kipchoge's say, no human is limited. Like I don't need to have 6 years running experience to say, okay, now I'm gonna chase silver. The goal is closer than it was, the year before, and it will come. The goal remains the same. Still gonna get that silver, and and it just made me realize the potential I have, man. And so I didn't get the target, but I'm extremely happy in terms of where my running is at and where my running is going. And if I just need to just consistently show up. There's no special formula. Just consistently show up, be consistent, patience, and eventually I'll get there.
No, because that was going to be my next question to say, are you saying that's too much to take, or are you, is it encouraging you to go back and say, I'm going back to the drawing board, silver is possible?
No, definitely not that silver is possible. Silver will be done. It's just a matter of time. Silver will be done.
I like the spirit.
It will come. I've got good guidance. I've got great coaches. It will come. I'm very ambitious. I'll keep being ambitious, and it will definitely come.
And one might ask themselves the question, why is silver so important? I know you are purpose driven and so forth, but why is Comrades Silver so important? Because I spoke to Sipho previously, sitting on the same spot as he was sitting on the same spot, and he said he wanted to do an Ocean Silver and a Comrades Silver, and he achieved those in a year, in the same year. And I was like, bravo to you, boy, kudos to you, because some of these things are not easy as we talk about them.
So I don't think it's necessarily necessarily that it's silver's the target. I've got a platform. I've got people that that watch what I do. So, as someone who, I don't think I actually spoke about this as well. Like when I got to matric, I told my mom that I wanted to be a professional hockey player, and she told me that there's no money in hockey. There's no in South Africa, at least. And then I was like, okay, so what's the next best thing that I'm good at? It was maths and accounting. So I was like, okay, let me go study accounting. But the young Sam has always wanted to be an athlete. So the young Sam always has been, performance driven. So I feel like, I years after, I get to make the young Sam proud, who's always wanted to be, an athlete, who's always been competitive, who's always wanted, to be in sports. And, as well as, there's people that, that look up to me. I think that Miss Universe Zozibini once said, you gotta take up space. If there's 50 ladies who get silver, why can't we make it 100?
Yeah.
Why can't we change the narrative? And that's what I want to do. And I want to encourage all my female runners that we can do it. It's not only for a limited few. We can all do it. There's nothing special I do. I post a lot of my runs. I post my good runs. I post my bad runs. There's nothing I do. All I do is I just wake up and go get the and do the program. Like, if I speak about like last year, my marathon block, I spent 6 weeks, not even one day did I ever hit a target, but I showed up every single day. I don't know how I did that, but I would. Do you know how discouraging it is, like to not hit a target, like a pace target?
Yeah, I know.
6 weeks multiplied by 6 days, which I ran, but I would still show up. So, just the spirit of not giving up. And it's not only, for running. These things, it becomes a habit. It becomes, who you are. When you chase your career, it just becomes your personality to be very resilient, to not give up, to show up, every day, even in different fields. If you ask someone, how did you do this? They'll tell you that, I showed up every day. Is it Michael Phelps? There's the swimmer.
Yeah,
he'll tell you how he trained every single day, even throughout Christmas. He is talented. There is some form of talent there, but it's the work ethic. You go to work, you want to become a CEO, you want to become a big exec. You got to show up every day. You got to put in those extra hours, and that's just. Personally, that's just how I feel. That's just the formula of life. Yeah.
That's profound. Now that the Comrades season is over, are you focusing on other things? Because understandably, running has become part of your personality, but then outside running and fitness space, is there anything that you're focusing on?
Running, I think the Comrades block, and I think maybe I'm also starting to make peace with it. It will always take up a significant part of my time, especially the first half of the year. Yeah, I think I'm gonna accept it. I'm gonna give myself grace, because you miss out on family time. You miss out on you don't rest much. You miss out on friends. You go quiet on friends, and other aspects do suffer. So I'm trying to focus on, during the marathon block to be better at, that type of stuff, going to family lunches, for example. And, I want and work as well, man, putting in more time at work, then I don't have to sleep so late, and stuff. And it's still part of my, it's not going to take up so much of my time, this block, but I am trying to be intentional about other things which I liked doing first half of the year, which I'd like to do second half of the year with more time. If you're gonna do a 60K, that's the whole day. You literally have no time to, you're tired, you just want to sleep, you have no time to because what Bruce Fordyce usually say, or is it not Bruce Fordyce, sorry,
what Coach Perry normally say is that the silver guys, they don't like their friends and they don't like their families because they do a lot of running. What they think of, it's a running. And I think another thing is that the focus now shifts to Cape Town Marathon.
Yes.
Are we going sub 3 on that?
We're going for a PB. We're going for a PB. Let's see what a PB is anything, PB is anything.
Even if it's a second better.
Yeah. No, we're going for a PB. We have to go for a PB. It's a very intentional training block. So if I'm just thinking what I'd like to achieve in the next, let's say 8 months, so being now up until the Comrades block starts again in Feb, so it's actually 7 months. It's same thing. Need to get that threshold up. So the easy runs become, very easy.
Yeah.
And they are at that silver pace, which I'm looking for. So yeah, it's very. My strategy this block is take the easy runs easy. So being the midweek, the weekend long runs, and just going very hard on those quality sessions, the speed sessions, the heel repeats, because that's where the magic lies. That's literally where the magic lies. So that's basically what I'd like to do. The next 6-7 months, get the legs stronger, get better on the heels, and endurance here and there. But you can't focus on everything at the same time.
Yeah.
So endurance. I do have endurance. I've got the mileage from the Comrades block, so it's just taking it easy and making sure the legs don't forget how to run long, but the focus is on getting faster.
The muscle memory, ne?
Yeah.
Have you started training yet?
Yes, I have.
Wow. How many weeks did you rest?
No, I rested actually 3 weeks. 3 weeks, and surprisingly, I'm back. We're still second week back, and I can feel it's not the same fit from May, which is okay. Rebuilding again, and the Cape Town Marathon target is big. And running a threshold for that long, it's gonna need a lot from me. I hope I can give it my best, and
I think us, the back runners, there's something we're missing, because even if I run a program, if I miss a target, I don't beat myself, but I can see you guys, you do a lot of introspection, do a lot of post what analysis, and I think for you guys it's hectic.
I think I read a post. There's two type of runners. There's how they explain, or how I could explain myself, is that it's redlining. So when I do something, I look to redline. So I need to go all. I need to feel that I'm working. I need some days I'll go do strength, for example, and I'll lift heavy, and I wanna feel the pain. So that's like the redlining element of it. But I mean, over and above chasing targets and stuff, there's nothing wrong with saying, hey, I just wanna finish. I just wanna finish a marathon. Some people, you haven't been running for 2 years, or, you had a health scare, and all you just want to do is you just want to run. You just want to run for your health. So, in as much as we chase the times, we chase the targets, at the end of the day, we are doing this sport, and why, running has become this huge trend. It started all after COVID, when people started taking their health seriously. So don't think just because you want to go there and you just want to finish, there's something wrong with. There's absolutely nothing wrong with you. That's what's just finishing. I mean, there's not a lot of people that finish marathons. So that in itself, is amazing. If I tell you that when I started, I couldn't even run 2.5 kilometers without stopping. So we can't take that for granted. No one is superior to the other because this one is running 6 minutes, this one is running 3 minutes. We all great in our own respect. Yeah.
We are all runners at the end of the day.
Exactly.
And there's a word that or the phrase that I use for us runners or for running. I say it's a painful fun, and people cannot relate to that. Yeah.
True, self-inflicted.
Yeah. And then let's just talk about the brand. Let's give your brand some love. I mean, it's free publicity. Abandu. Tell us about Abandu as a brand that you are part of. I know you did just a brief, you touched on it briefly when we did the introduction.
So I am a co-founder for Abantu Apparel. I've got 2 other co-founders, Modise and Sibonelo. It's a fitness apparel. So how it started was, so since I've been like a fitness, fanatic for the longest time, I've always wanted to own, a fitness apparel brand, but I just never really got about to doing it. And after our first Comrades in 2022, Sibonelo, myself, and Modise all ran our first Comrades then. They approached me and they were like, hey, we actually want to do this thing. I think, they weren't happy with, the club apparel we were getting, and we're just like, nah, but we could probably try do something better. And like, if you know them, those that know them know they're very like smart guys. They want to look nice, at races, and they want to look presentable and stuff. And they were just like, hey, we can probably make our own apparel. And they just approached me and they were like, okay, we'd like you to jump on board and stuff. And I was like, yay, I've been wanting to do this for the longest time. Of course, I'll be keen. I've got certain things I bring to the table. Modise has his own, strengths and weaknesses, and, we just complement each other well. And then initially we only wanted to do like customized apparel. So we wanted to make for like clubs and crews, and because how the running space is, it's all about community. It's all about looking the same, and, that's the unity, uniformity and stuff. But then we actually needed to have a product out so we can show, potential clients, and that type of stuff. So then we had our own design. That design wasn't actually supposed to sell. The design was just meant to be like a sample, I suppose. Yeah. So what ended up happening was that people were like, hey, we want to buy that design. That design is nice. And then that's how we then have, our own Abantu branded stuff. And then as well as, the customized apparel that we have. And I think another issue a gap in the market, which we were trying to close, was the lead times, the lengthy lead times that, you have to wait to get your apparel and stuff. And they were like, okay, let's see if we can find a solution for that. And so that's the gap we try to close. And being the fact that I'm on social and stuff, so that's how we got the brand out. A lot of social media exposure, which is not what the other apparel or the customized apparel companies are doing. So and people love the brand, people loved the name, people could relate to the name, and we were very intentional with both the brand, and then I think a good 6-7 months into us starting the brand, then we got approached by Waterfall to do their race t-shirts, which was last year, and that was an amazing opportunity for us. And from then we've just been growing exponentially. The vision is to keep on closing the gap, creating nice athleisure apparel, running apparel, and we're just passionate about looking good and quality as well. And
Yeah,
basically that.
because I heard even at the waterfall when they did the race launch, they mentioned that Abantu is their apparel sponsor, and I was like, "Hey!" And I'm meeting one of them tomorrow. But then, beside the waterfall, who are the other clubs that you have made apparels for? Because I mean, someone might be listening and thinking, I haven't seen this before. But then if they can relate, if you say, I've made for Waterfall, and who else?
So we've made for the likes of Bank. We've done apparel for Old Mutual, a lot of corporates as well.
Okay.
We've also made for Anglo American. So we've made for running crews like Dumi Sole, Just Running. Yeah, quite a number, and some crews as well. We've also made for Real Kichimas. Yeah, we've got a we're growing. Yeah, we are growing exponentially, and I think we can start hiring and stuff, and creating jobs as well.
We need jobs, eh?
Exactly.
We seriously need jobs in this country.
Exactly.
And I think we need to bring back the textile space in house so that we can start making our own stuff.
Yes,
you guys have done good, and I applaud you for starting your Abantu Apparel, and keep growing.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank
but
you.
Then I think thank you for coming to do this interview, or I usually call them conversations.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it. Thank you.
And that brings us to the end of our conversation with Samantha Shabalala. We love what we do what we love. We will see you in the next episode. Until then, sharp.